Thank you. That's the first time our soloists have had a chance to perform that one. I think they did really well.
the saints go marching in.
That's my favorite song.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Please move to the next set.
The next performance is just down here.
He enjoyed hiking, fishing, art. He also played Australian telling a joke. That was very funny. Makes people laugh. He also missed his dad passed away and made him very sad. His dad and him had a relationship more on his dad's side. He liked going to church. This is what I brought him. Brad was a good boyfriend. He was very happy in his life. I'm Brad's fiance, Tiffany. Had a wedding planned in September, but he could not make it. He died on June 28, 1999 at 9:45 in the morning. And Trini's roommate died while putting his pants on, and the staff went to get his meds. When they came back, he was dead on his bed. His spirit left him, went up in heaven. The only thing comes back in the bedroom is his spirit of a ghost. People don't know he's here with you. Hear his voices during the night. The end. Thank you.
Mary Rice, we have closed her up.
All right. Well, Leroy has made a poem out of each letter out of Randy's name. Randy had a righteous personality, right?
Yeah, right.
He was always positive,
Yep.
never had a bad thing to say.
Never had a bad thing to say.
He had a dynamic flair for bowling. And you will be missed, Randy. All right.
Yeah.
That's Leroy.
No.
All right, next up we have Devin Armstrong. Devin is, how old are you, Devin? Oh, just drop your banner. Here's his banner.
7.
7 years old. Pretty neat.
You hold it.
Yeah,
Since
yeah.
Devin is so young, he didn't have anybody to make a memory, memory banner for, so he picked Dalmatians because he loves Dalmatians. So, he picked each letter from the word of Dalmatians, and he wrote something that he liked about him. Dalmatians are dynamite, right?
Yeah.
They're always active.
Yeah.
They're loving.
Yeah.
They're always moving and jumping. They're adorable.
Yeah.
And they take risks when they save people's lives by riding on the fire truck.
Yeah.
They're intelligent.
Yeah.
Oh, for oh boy. They never bite, and they have spots all over. This is Devin's banner. That's it.
Minor. Okay, here's his banner. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, Trini.
Dan Reeves is a real good friend of mine from Darby. He lost his life to cancer.
Huh.
Oh, sure, right.
I'm sorry.
Dan was a very nice man. We always called him Dan the Man. He was all the time worrying about other people, never himself. He was such a good friend. I never worried when he was with me. He always had good things to say and he'd do anything for you, you know. Dan lost his life to cancer. He was always caring about other people. He'd always take the time to make sure all the people had food, money, whatever it took him to get along, even though he didn't, you know. Dan cared a lot about people. There were people in Dan's life that didn't always treat him right. Dan just didn't know it and just go on life like, you know, no big thing, you know. He wanted to be a caring person though, and he definitely was, you know. I miss him a lot.
He's a fisherman, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, he's a fisherman.
Okay. And next up is Mike Griffith.
This is a tribute to Brad Cornelius.
Mike's roommate.
Brad was a very special guy. He could be as funny as the funniest of clowns. When it came to work, however, he could work as hard as anyone. In addition to being an artist and creating beauty in pictures, he had a very dark personality. He dreamed about working with dead people.
I always wanted to be a mortician.
Yeah.
The end.
Well, thanks for coming to see all of our memory banners. We appreciate you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for braving the cold.
Yeah.
Helping us out here, and she rocks. It's dark. Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Anna Camperson Roberts, 1900, 1955, my maternal grandmother. I was 4 years old when she died. And my sister, I was 16 years old when she died. Leslie Van Stavern Millar, 1893, 1972, my paternal grandfather. 3. 1923 to 1989, my aunt. I was 39 years old when she died. Paul Roberts Sr., 1902 to 1989, my maternal grandfather. I was 39 years old when he died. Leonard DeLonga, 1925, 1991, my art teacher. I was 41 years old when he died. Robert Hobson Gilliam, 1912, 1993, my father-in-law. I was 43 years old when he died. Catherine Lamb, 1949, 1995, my friend. I was 44 years old when she died. Rebecca Price Gilliam, 1910, 1996, my mother-in-law. I was 46 years old when she died. Lorenzo Nissim, 1909, 1997. Marcus Wolf, 1920, year 2000. My friend, I was 49 years old when he died. Wayne Nord, 1951, 2000. My friend, I was 49 years old when he died.
Next up, everyone, we have a chance to listen to a talk by, or basically a discussion about some Hmong traditions, funeral rites, by a Hmong cultural specialist, Tu Yang.
First of all, I would like to thank you, Dave and Steve, and all the faculties who has been working very hard to get these projects going on, and so everybody can, come and enjoy the Festival of the Dead. And I thank you very much to give me this opportunity to be here today, tonight, to share with you a very brief of Hmong traditional funeral and how we celebrate our dead, how we celebrate our funeral, or how do we celebrate and did all kinds of ceremony in our traditional way of funeral things. First of all, I used to do a lot of presentation, and to have people know who I am and who are the Hmong, not monk, but Hmong, the third world. Okay, again, my name is Tu Yang. I'm currently a full-time nursing student at the University of Montana, a Hmong Elder Council member. I'm the Montana Asian American Center chairman, and both Hmong traditional and music, modern and traditional music band players. And I'm here today to share with you some information regarding the Hmong traditional funeral ceremony. However, according to my knowledge and research, go any further on my detail, I would like to give you my very brief Hmong history of where the Hmong originated, and we came from Laos. The Hmong is one of the minority group of people in Laos, and originally came from southern China many years ago. Of course, everybody knows about the Vietnam War, right? Yeah. Okay? Maybe you don't know, but you heard about it. Okay? So early in 1960s, the Hmong were recruited by the United States CIA agencies in Southeast Asia to become a guerrilla army to fight the communists. The Hmong soldiers were called the U.S. Secret Army in Laos. During the Vietnam War and the concurrent secret war in Laos, 1960 to 1975, The Hmong play an important role as allies and supporters of the United States military and intelligence operations. Supported by the joint to number more than 30,000 soldiers, not all the Hmong became soldiers of their own accord. Some were forced into combat because bombing destroyed the villages, fields, animals, and wild games. Hmong soldiers fought the ground war, flew combat missions, directed airstrikes by American pilots, rescued down American flyers, dropped by helicopter and parachute to fight behind the enemy lines, gather intelligence on the movements of Vietnamese and Laotian communist troops, and intercept material on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Guess how many Hmong soldiers died during the Vietnam War? Approximately 30 to 40,000 Hmong soldiers out of 300,000 total Hmong population in Laos died while fighting in the secret army in the 15 years period. Unfortunately, in May 1975, the royal government of Laos fought to the communists, and the United States CIA agencies in Southeast Asia withdrew from Laos. The Hmong found themselves in immediate danger from the new communist government. Now, where did the Hmong go? Of course, no place to hide and no place to run. Due to the communist rules in eliminating the U.S. Allied Army shortly the following month, in June 1975, the loyal and hard-fighting Hmong soldiers had to result in the U.S. government agreeing to accept the Hmong as refugees for resettlement in the United States. An arrangement the Hmong had understood as a long-standing promise from the CIA. That is why, what, and how we are here in America today. Although we've lost our homeland for many years, our ancestors, grandparents, parents, and we, the young Hmong generation, are retaining our identities as Hmong because we have maintained our own language, customs, beliefs, and ways of life, while also adopting the new culture, new society, and the new ways of life of the country in which we live in today. Our Hmong traditional funeral usually lasts for more than a day. In Laos, let's say in Laos, we celebrate our funeral for days and nights, for 5 days at least. It's going to be rotten and, those kind of things, and smelling, but that's true. That's really true. Back in Laos, because that country, we didn't have, such of medication and good medical, chemical stuff that to control the smell and control the, spoiling. But then, that's how we did in Laos. And our house in Laos, we celebrate the dead body inside our house, not in the funeral home, because we didn't have funeral home in Laos. So we celebrate, it depends on how many, for example, an elderly died, elderly passed away. It depends on how many sons or daughters he has or she has. Each son or daughter would kill a cow or a buffalo, for the elderly person. And so that is like, for example, if you have like 5 sons, you are a lucky man. 6 sons, 10 sons, even luckier, because your son's gonna be killing a lot of animals for you. And we, and to that, we are not just wasting the animal, but we kill it is because it's for 2 reasons. One is for food, because we celebrate our funeral. It's like we don't come into the funeral like today, and then you can bring in your guitar and play a modern song or any song that you want. But our traditional, when we come into a funeral, we feel sad, we cry, we laugh, we're passionate about the passed away persons, and we're gonna invite people all over the country. Your son, your daughter, or the extended family, like your uncle, anybody that related to this passed away, body would come. Even here in the United States, we would call them, and they would come from everywhere, every state, to Missoula to celebrate. And we kill a lot of animals. One is for food. Number two, the most important thing is a cow or a buffalo for a dead body is to say, okay, when he or she went to the ancestors' land, that will be his umbrella. Okay, we call umbrella because traditionally we have the funeral manager, the funeral guider, which is, we call the DC guider, okay, the passed away guider. He's gonna sing a song, he's gonna do some ceremony, guiding the spirits of the passed away bodies back to the ancestors' land, and then he's gonna say, okay, this is from your son, this is from your daughter, you should take this with you, go and back to the ancestors' land. When you are poor or whenever you're out of food or those kind of things, you can use them. And the paper money are very important too, because in this world we call just paper money, but then in their world, the spirits world are money, silver, gold. And that's why we burn a lot of silver, money, paper, and we kill animals. But this country, we don't kill a lot of animals. In the big city, like especially in Minnesota and California, where they can have a funeral for 3 days and 3 nights, But here in Missoula, we are pretty tight. We cannot get a funeral home for that long. 1 night, 2 nights is enough. So after we celebrate, including to the celebration of a funeral, we have music. We have this kind of instruments. And we cannot celebrate a funeral without this music. We cannot do it without this music and drum. We have a drum. We have this music. Elderly people, officially we need to ask and looking for four music players, this kind of players. And the music players can also play the drum. So it's going to be 4 to 6 players because we play all day and all night. After 5 nights and 6 days, you're going to feel your teeth like, okay, they're going to be gone, And so it's very traditional that way, and we carry it from generation to generation. From southern China many centuries ago, and we still do it today. And after we celebrate, we have 2 times of celebrate. The first time we celebrate the dead body, but then the second time we celebrate the sick spirit. In our belief, after an individual passes away, we believe that he has or she has at least 3 spirits. One is going back directly to the ancestors' land. The second one would wander around and protect the family, the living family. And the third one would go dead with the dead body. And then the one that goes back, the spirit that goes back to the ancestors' land would hopefully be reborn to be human again. So that's how we believe. And during our funeral ceremony, we drink some beer, some wine for the appreciation. And now more to the music part. I myself playing this kind of music. And one of the two players in Missoula. We only have two players in Missoula. Right now it's coming in 3 players in Missoula that we can only play this music. Otherwise we have to call people from Spokane, Washington, to help us out. And so music part, everything that we say in the music instrument here, we guiding the spirit of the dead body back to the ancestors' land. It's a very long story. It's a very long story. If I gonna put it in the book, it's gonna be this thick, and you're gonna get years. But I'm not gonna go for too many details. And go to the spirit, celebration. We call celebrating the spirit. After a year, then you're gonna have to call him or call her back to come back and celebrate. Because in that first year that he or she died and passed away, they have nowhere to settle yet. So, and they might still wander around, and then because they are new arrival back to the ancestors' land, they didn't possess, as much as things that, everything that belonged to them. So now we call the spirit back, and we're gonna celebrate and give him or her a lot of money. And at that time we didn't kill too many animals. We killed only one animal, and then that's it for the returning spirits ceremony. And like I said, everything we do has to be music, and we do it for days and nights. And every time we go into the funeral home here, we are not just go sitting down. We always have a schedule to do this and do that and do this. In the morning we have our own music song for them. Noontime we have our lunchtime music for them. Dinner time we have to have dinner music for them. So we celebrate them days and nights to make them happy. And with the music, we play and we also dance with it. The reason we dance is to entertain people so they don't get sleepy. Otherwise, in Laos we always talk about the ghosts, right? When they sleep, ghosts gonna come and touch their head. So we always play with it and dance with this kind of instruments to entertain the family, that is having someone who passed away. They are sad, and so we play and dance, and that we encourage the young people come and play and dance, but not many young people know how to play this thing. And so we entertain the family and also the people that come for the celebration of the death. And here I'm not gonna dance, but I'm just gonna blow and see how you listen to this kind of sound. It's very different from Michael Jackson's music.
Question?
Yes.
If the child dies, is that funeral different in any way?
If the child, we don't celebrate that long. The child, if especially like under 15, under 14 or 15, we consider children. We don't celebrate it for a long time. We only celebrate like the night or something. And in the highland, like our Hmong people love to live on the upper elevation, which is more fresh air and stay more healthy and more hygiene up there, higher than the majority of the people. But then because we don't live close to town, And we didn't have, we didn't even have flashlight. We used dry bamboo, chop it out and burn it, and then just like when she burned this candle and just go for it. If we walk in the night. Yeah, it's pretty different.
I've been to Thailand, and they have spirit houses there. Do your people use spirit houses?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
What people are you?
Well, in Bangkok, there are spirit houses everywhere.
Okay.
And they're like little buildings that are in front of a person's dwelling or place of business, so that the spirits
Okay.
occupy it.
Yeah, you talking about Thai and Laotian culture.
Yeah.
Yes, they have a little spirit's house beside their house. But we don't have, we have inside our house, we have like the shaman altar.
Yeah.
We have, we have our shelter. We have everything in our shelter.
It's inside your
Yeah,
dwelling.
inside our house. Yeah. Because in our own family spirits, we call it internal family members, and we celebrate them inside our house. But then, for example, if my mother or father-in-law, I cannot celebrate them inside. I have to make a little altar outside. Music, and you can question afterwards. Of course, we cannot play the funeral music in our house, okay? But we can play there are like basic music that we can play everywhere. Like the dancing music and those kind of things we can play everywhere. But once we're going to get into the funeral song, we're not going to play it inside our house because we have spirit. So we don't really play inside. And this is just the basic long 6 bamboo pipe. New arrival, like I said, just passed away body. The reason we burn a lot of money for them because it's for many purposes. One is along the way, they're gonna have to go across like giants, okay? And if you go across the mountains of big caterpillar, they let you pass. Those sort of things. It's like many for many occasions, and we need to be sure that he or she kept some for herself. When she gets to the ancestors' land, she can have some money to spend. But of course, the ancestors are waiting, is what we believe. And then once you get there, you don't get to spend much money because it's just like here, you go to your grandma's house, she has everything, you just open the refrigerator and then get stuff out. Okay.
We just got something, this is our group singing. We just got done singing songs outside.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I drove by and I saw.
That was us.
Beautiful.
I'll try, that's cute.
Oh, I love it. I love, because I like music. I play music, I sing song, and I love music. And anything about music, I love it.
Over at the Raven, there's some poetry reading that is actually underway. That's going on right now, and then it's at 9 o'clock. Israel Mena will be doing traditional Aztec dancing over there. So head on.
Yeah. I can film these in the daytime. They're too hard to see at night. We are doing the Festival of the Dead shrines outside. Some of them are in homage to dead artists. Yada yada.
Today, November 1st, is called All Saints' Day in the Christian calendar. The ancient Celts call it Samhain and consider it to be the first day of the new year. On October 31st, our October 31st didn't appear on their calendar. It was believed to be the crack between the old year and the new year. And it's possible that our saying a year and a day comes from the ancient Celtic calendar. My poem is called Skeleton Fixer. As the sun breaks through the gray morning over the Great Salt Lake, and frail echoes of first night revelries still linger in back alleys and storm drains of the city, doctors, draped in sterile gowns, suck my little grandson from the warmth of his mother's womb. In the hospital record it is written trisomy 18, fetus irreparably impaired, aborted late in the second trimester, no complications. Hush, little baby, don't you cry. A week after the vernal equinox, late in the month of March, Mary, mother of Louise, grandmother of Morgan, dies. Brain tumor, sudden, virulent, quite unexpected. Memorial Day weekend, Judy is killed on her Harley, on the highway. Teacher, lawyer, Fulbright scholar, artist, athlete, triathlon runner. She died in the cold embrace of twisted metal. Crick crack, break your back, her sister Susie's still intact. At the funeral, her father declares, one night, deep in the serious snow of December, he went to sleep under the warmest of down comforters. In the morning, they found him lying on his back, arms flung wide over his head, a startled look of surprise on his face. On the afternoon of the strawberry full moon, Nancy, diagnosed with bone cancer at 68, treats herself to an outrageously sexy silk nightgown, black. Good choice of color, don't you agree? I will be damned if I'll die in one of those obscenely banal hospital gowns. In less time than it takes for the tide to recede and return, she was gone. Just sailed away, for a year and a day. It's enough to make a strong woman weep until the tears run dry. What am I to do? What am I to do with all these skeletons bojangling around me like marionettes on a string? I can hear them tap-tapping along. All my lovers, all my family, all my friends, all my faithful enemies, snapping at my heels. A pack of hound dogs whirling an old dry bone. That one, abandoned out there on the edge of town, I recognize her. She's the bone-weary woman with the lonely marrow who haunts my dreams. Her shadow spreading like a bruise across my heart. Come on, gal, she says. What's done is done. Forget it. You got nothing to lose. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but I don't want her scratching around my door anymore. And this one, with the dark eyes, sidling up to me all slinky and svelte, hooking her chalk white arm around my waist as if we were long-time companions, sending shivers up and down my spine whenever she kisses my ear, tells me things I want to hear in a voice as smooth as fine bone china. You and me, babe, she says, you and me, we're family. That's enough to rattle my skeleton, the one hanging out at the back of the closet. In the Book of the Dead, it is written, death occurs often in clusters. I have tried to set loose the deaths of all those I love in the broken lines of my poem. My words scattered about in the silence death imposes like wind-worn bones in the desert. In a time before time, old skeleton fixer would have spoken to the bones. And even though he couldn't recognize them, every curved rib, all those broken limbs, every crushed skull, he loved them anyway, calling them back to life. On a night like this one, when once a year the veils between the worlds are lifted and the newly dead return, I like to think my friends will never leave me. They'll dress up in satin nightgowns and black leather motorcycle jackets, come asking me to slow dance, offering me gifts, telling me to sit down, take a rest. We're all still connected. Head bone to neck bone, knuckle bone to knee, elbow to toe.
I read a lot of biographies. And so this first poem I'm going to read it's kind of about the process of writing biography, namely, Uniformity's visit in creased sheets was an empty box, an Easter bunny. John drank a murky tea in preparation. There was a moment when the freeway calmed and its currents of anxious sedans fell back. Other cars took over, older, missing parts. The pop machine gaped. He was green and eager for rules, but he knew this was no street, no country. This next one's called Poppy. Even when he wraps the book in limp fronds of rags, the nearness of it upsets him. He tries the imposing attic, but feels it keenly there, nestled in insulation, in the skin of the house. Alone in the hills, he manages 3 pages daily and then a cleansing, an attempted removal. He believes in clumsiness, the sharp triangle of lovers leaping erratically toward their last respective pages. Under the sink, he places it among bleaches and grainy jugs of scour. He realizes that he'd hoped for intervention and imagined it stripped blank while he slept. It won't leave him. The narrator's crumbling saint, death trap elevator shaft, the nurse's blue veins. It's not as if he were hollow and is filled by this book with grief, but damage is excitable, and it runs with ripe hanks of bread from the table where he eats. Soon, the chemical shelf is not good enough to clear him nightly of its lurching plot. When the moon is loud, he opens the door, stepping clumsily out under the stars. Within seconds, the trees catch his scent and loose invisible hordes of mantis and moth. Beyond them, in the field, something he's imagined into life breathes nitrogen through its dark gray gums and watches him cross the yard. He leaves the book in the shed with the mason jars and rakes. Back up the rasping porch, he eats his dinner blank, without bile. At his desk, he searches his pens for ink, then begins a letter to his friend. Dear Sir, all said and done, I was always yours to bend. If that political career had gone differently, here he stops, chokes back the burning lamb of regret. He had spent too long mourning beauty in rooms. His revenge was witless and tiny and frail. But never mind. I hope I am as wrong and as sick as I can be. And you and that photographer should die for your sins. This is a haunted house poem. I remember reading a ghost story about a house that whistled. I think it was called Whistling House. So I called this last night Whistling House. Strange, at this moment, I've noticed her ridiculous nightgown. She swam in its twill. I grabbed her arm and she fought me, reaching for something. Her matches, one ragged Cupid doll. Alien, I thought. My adrenaline screamed. The night was warm, and as we ran, I saw Matthew and Jane leap the substantial hedge. Even now, I catch quick Polaroids of their blonde hair. They had an identical smell, the reek of twins. My awkward family reached the road in tatters, our kinship ascending, scraping the sky. Later, the house was collapsed, and I heard heat rose from the ground in great waves. I married a man who fell that day and crushed his knee in a whitened pine. At night, we played cards until the kitchen light took the walls apart. Then the dark we swallowed daily like a pill. This last poem I'm going to read is called Liar. Through the sharpness of low berries, he felt the suspension of pain. Through the whiteness of dust with its screams. Through the plowed stones cracked softly by wheels. Through branches with tufts of unnameable fur. Through the mosaic of pine to a yard, its tiny hills. A swing set rusts, porous and leaning. He couldn't wonder what to say or who he was surprising. He only navigated the curving drive, snatching air, momentum to speak. The woman came dressed for a dirty ballroom, reek of gardenia, tumbling chiffon. In the afternoon heat, she'd stripped her face of dead skin and applied a blue and sparkling dust. She was convinced that her ritual conjured him from the road or the dank hollows behind the house. Inside, a million candles bent white and overripe. She danced him in a crude waltz until his stained face dropped and the room was a phantom, silt in the tide. As he fell, he recalled his fear of snakes, how their hidden terrain carved his dreams, 12, aching, in a tent on a hill. He said the floor was forgiving, and from where he lay, she looked like a weird, bright Christ, her tool, a green fire. She crossed the room and leaned into the hall, looking up into the invisible aisles of the house, up the banister, the unlit stairs. Her hands gripped the door frame and her body swayed. Hey, she yelled, hey. They waited for the next thing, a creak. A reply. At this time, he remembers, he saw himself escaping but felt she would follow his scent until he lost it in water, bled dry beneath the trees. Later, wrapped, assembling details, we noticed a pattern. In the submitted testimony describing trauma, the effects of blood loss on the brain, another event takes shape. Across the county line, a dozen reports of strange lights in the sky, dogs and field mice running in circles. The man's crashed car explodes with no sound. It swells, operatic. It burns brighter than all the ballparks in the world. The next reader is Ed Leahy.
This is a poem I've written recently, and that's why I like it. Inside her. I'm in deep trouble, she said to him, the first time in history anyone had spoken of me. The year 1936, Butte, Montana, not far from here. She was 18. He had just come down the hill, a shift in the Never Sweat. $2 a day on the Widowmaker. She bawled, then soft tears. What should we do? This is a fine time to ask, he said, looking at his muddy brogans, his face cold dark. They fought and screamed at one another. Then a long silence, and she asked again, well? All the while, I lay curled up, my heart beating in the darkness inside her. This is a Halloween poem. The Inquest. Gasoline, cracked chrome, twisted spokes. A mangled dream rubs its paint on tangled rock along that country road where often we raced. Sparrowhawks swooping low beside fence posts and willows, tracking the black new road. And now he's dead. Strange that he would choose to slip through fog this morning, knowing water on the road calls for blood. He went alone. He did not bang upon my door with his dark Italian helmet, nor did I hear his decorated laughter. I cannot explain. I do not think he wished to die. He was not a complicated man. Perhaps something went wrong and he could not feel the rain pooling on the pavement, rising from the spinning wheel, and now he's dead. I heard him kick the engine over, or maybe I dreamed I did. I tried to warn him, I think, struggling in my sleep, trying to compete with the pipes beginning. Watch the road, I said, or thought I did, as he slipped into the pocked face of the rain this morning, and now he's dead, and I cannot explain. Kelly Shaft Ceremony. In New York City, 50 priests say Mass for Cornelius Kelly, cartel king of copper. Ground wind in his copper camp howls winter requiem in Butte. Half-mast hoist house flags whip attention. Shifters cream lukewarm lies into bitter coffee cups. Cold, white-skinned men dress in dries and prepare to descend in silent steam. Shaft lights flicker, helmets click as someone shuffles on the grate. A lame Finn drops his bucket, crowds are mit. Both men mutter in the cage at a company suck, sent to ritual at the portal stage. To honor Kelly, he makes an inscribed copper plate, fits screw holes in the gallows frame. Now men slip down the throat of a dead man's monument. It's an old one, but it always moves me. I hope you like it. It's called Bring Me a Comb for My Hair. The night my mother died, she said to me on the phone, "Come down. I'm going to have to go to the hospital." We visited a while in her trailer house when I got there. She was not unhappy, but in pain. "Cancer is proof there is no God," she said, defying me to argue. "What will I do?" I asked, agnostic, middle-aged, and insecure. "If you make a child." We talked that way, but this time I made her angry, perhaps even bored her. She said with an odd laugh, "Maybe it will make a man of you." Then we sat in silence until I knew, though blind, she could see the tears in my eyes. She said sternly then, "Keep writing," as though she were speaking to a fool. On the way to the hospital in the morning, she added, "If I am still alive, bring me a comb for my hair." The mane of the cold pony. It is almost yesterday. Soft flakes drift lightly by the window. Our past world out there. No world news of Japanese economic calamity, the birth of quintuplets. I know the pony is cold, hunkered down in the snowy meadow, ale tucked under, dreaming of oats with cut-apples. The girl with the red hair, pale, and sometimes times. So why do I have the tube on? Even the small black and white is out of step with the weather. The Appaloosa dreams of a warm barn, head deep in the star crystals, the mist of billowy breath. Paranoid for months, naked and all alone. Alone in my pad, the answering machine tangles in its roots, tense as a clutch of English professors in an internet chat room. I know the gist of the day could be found simply by walking over there with a handful of oats, then by combing out the mane of the cold pony. I see him stagger in the lane, hugging the brown paper sack, lurching toward the goddess at the end of his vision. I am not morally opposed, nor do I think he's talent wasted. He holds the bottle like a gun, loaded with these sentiments. And shot by shot, he pulls the trigger, floating Rambo as he goes, willing his failure to die in an undramatic manner. The next reader is Missoula's traveling poet, Dave Thomas.
You just have to stay tuned, man. Over the years, I've written a lot of elegies. And I guess tonight what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you 4 of them, and then I'm going to read you another little poem version. This first one is a friend of mine died back in April. And he's a person I didn't meet very often. Still, it was a bit of a blow when he died. It's called Hard News. Years ago, death was new to our concerns, and my pen fresh to elegy. Now the elegiac lines I penned are new, and death always a fresh ache. I learned to hear an old friend by way of newspaper, and recall the last I saw him one Friday night, Higgins Avenue, near the Oxford. I was too distracted for recognition, and we passed without an exchange of greeting. But earlier, in safety, Penny had told me of her struggle and her courage. And now the struggle is over. raw spring winds blowing clouds across the sun, new buds pushing through the twig ends of trees, the dust full of friends, and the sky ever so blue. The summer, a woman died, perhaps maybe you knew, I'm not sure. Her name was Judy Chapman. She's probably gone on to be the patron saint of all Montana Democrats. But, she was a good friend of mine. I wrote this poem for her called Crossing Over. The singers cry out their song, and the drummers find the beat. Leaves twist in the summer breeze, waves ripple across the river, running low. We have lost a friend, a strong advocate for our life. Her song echoes all over, from dusty buttes to deep canyons. Coyotes cry out in sadness, grizzly bears growl their grief. The sun gives way to the evening star, and our hearts beat stronger with the memory. Remember another friend of mine out in the spring, his name is Fred Peters. It's called Wingslet. He ranged from deep in Mexico to the shadows of Canada. New geographies, both physical and chemical. At ease behind the wheel, he might appear anywhere. A crowded Haight-Ashbury apartment, the front room of the church house on East Main. You kept the shadows burning with your own brand of light. The fires of Vietnam shaped your visions early on, but you worked your way close to the real earth and moved with its light. And moved with its light over trails that trace the continent. You heard its songs, told its stories, and now you have become it. Perhaps now steering a pink Cadillac through the ether. Not alone, it's a full ride, and probably not too well behaved. But you don't mind. Just flash a quick grin and laugh a wolf howl deep in the water. This one's for Lee and I, right about here. The boss. You're in, kid, the man with the bushy eyebrows and bristled mustache would say as you handed him your coin and took the glass of poison you chose and entered a world you've never seen before. Hinted at in books, perhaps, whispered as legend, tones of black and white, never so startling as the grays he made us see, a connoisseur of shadows and spaghetti sauce that would melt the last remaining myth. Oh man, we'll miss you now, and that's no shit. This poem I wrote just about exactly 10 years ago. And I can only read it once a year. And this is the time of year. It's called Halloween Poem. Behold the mask. No mere dime store figment, or even one of Uncle Oak's vulcanized special. This mask pulses with blood, wears its own breath with a tribal chant. Veins carved in its surface by division hands. Behold the mask, reflecting the flame of the dark and frosty night. Whispers form its painted lips, drawing forth druidic dreams. Leaves dancing their shape to soil, smoke rising through empty eyes. Behold the mask, burying its bone in a circle of feathers, drumming the raw red flesh of a heart newly sawn on a wet sticky altar. Behold the mask the assassin wears, slipping through shadow his razor knife to expose moonlight golden white. Behold the mask as billions of colored dots shimmer the screen of the world. Who do you see? Your leader, your mother, father, a friend? Coyote, a trickster, a court jester, a soap-selling fool. Behold the mask on children at your door, the teeny pretense of trick or treat, as blizzards build behind a mountain's shoulders. Behold the mask weeping its own tears, set as diamonds in finest mahogany. Coming home now, angelic choirs sing high sweet praise, the fresh dawn of new shadows on the changing face of earth. Behold the mask. reader is Ray, whose last name I forget.
Precepts in the Soto Zen order with the Reverend Koshi Ashida, who is now in Nara, Japan. He is dying from a rare neurological condition. So the first poem I'm going to recite is called Requiem for Koshi Ashida. I've already sent him his Requiem too, even though he's still alive. I thought he might like to take a look at it. Requiem for Koshi Ashida. What can be said of this great man Koshi? Ash falls from the incense stick. Mountains rise from the great plains. Grizzly bears roam. Another Requiem. This is Requiem for Chico Mendes. I don't know if everybody here knows about him. He was a Brazilian rainforest activist and head of the Rubber Tappers Union. He was also an organizer for the Workers' Party. I think, yeah, the Workers' Party in Brazil. He was killed by an assassin hired by the cattle people who wanted to get rid of the rainforest. So this one is called Requiem for Chico Mendes. Yes, rain clouds are born on this day. With joy, the trees breathe them. With joy, the blue curve of space holds them, like a mother holds her child. The clouds are the spires, the clouds are the cities of the saints. The clouds are luminous like your face. They rise, they build higher and higher, then rain. They're raining like tears falling on the earth that holds you like a mother holds her child, Chico Mendes. I see your soul flying. It is a beautiful bird with jewel-like wings that lives in the jungle that delights in all things. It is an orchid, it is a beetle, it is a rainbow. We know you were shot, we know you are dead, Chico Mendes. We offer you these memories as you fly between worlds. We miss you, yes, we miss you. But the inspiration of this was a trip down the middle fork of the Salmon River, and basically it's a poem about shamanism. The sun is up, it is round. The sun is up, it is warm. In the canyon, snowy peaks bring water in the canyon. Gentle breeze gives air and desert flowers are blooming, blooming. Here they are, take some. Here they are, take some. Colored stars bursting in this canyon universe, in this canyon universe, on the ridge, a slow wind drink deeply. The sheep, they drink deeply. The river of no return. Near the cave, near the fire pit. And pink roses burst like flames, and red ochre men with red ochre bows hunt red ochre sheep. They hunt red ochre sheep. The sheep are running. Some are laughing. They say, oh, 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 the silly people. Oh, 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 the silly people. Oh, 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 the silly people, as they run down the hill. Our red blood a-pulsing. Our ochre blood a-pulsing. A-pulsing, yes. A-pulsing, yes. Life itself, red ochre. In the cave is a man with wings. In the cave is a bird who is a man. Which one is he? Or is he both? No one is sure. Not even him. And river waves washed this canyon. Waves of sheep flowed in time. Waves of salmon, of sinew, of bone, of blood, pulsing. A wing beat, and the eagle spins on the canyon rim like a dancer in the red of your dawn. He says as he flies, he says as he dances, he says as the grass shakes like a rattle, he says as the rattle shakes like the grasses. Long ago, long, long ago, red ochre people walked here. Long ago, long, long ago, they danced here in the red ochre dawn. They will come back, they will return in time, in circle time, in round time, for a very long time. The sun is up, it is round. The sun is up, it is warm. In the canyon, snowy peaks bring water in the canyon. Gentle breeze gives air and desert flowers are blooming, blooming. Here they are, take some. Here they are, take some. This fourth one is about some visions that I've had. In 1991, I had a severe psychotic break. As it turns out, I have bipolar disorder, which is a neurological condition that can be controlled without medication. But if I don't take my medication, I'll be on quite a different plane of reality. And this one, as Daryl knows, Anyway, I got locked up in the Valley County Jail, and I was put in an underground cell for a month with no treatment. Actually, mental health professionals were turned away, and I had literally thousands of visions. And most of these visions were visions of hell. However, some of them were absolutely gorgeous. So here's a poem based on one of my bipolar visions. It's called Eyes. I was crazy. I was locked in a cell. I was crazy. I was locked in a cell, in solitary. I had visions. I loved her. We were married. We lived on a distant planet, galaxies and galaxies away from here. The night sky was lit up by thousands and thousands of stars, so bright. I left her. I flew away in a spaceship. Eons passed in the depths of interstellar space. Here time did not flow in a straight line. It constricted, expanded, broke apart. Universes came and went. I lost her. I'm not from here, that's for sure. I'm from somewhere else. Now walking the streets, I look for her. I looked for her in your eyes. That's it.
A performance by Israel Menya, and I'm hoping that you can all stay for that. So we'll see you guys back here at 9 o'clock. Thank you very much.
This one, I think he said, is the Aztec Sun calendar. It's the calendar that he's displaying.
We're ready for our next presentation this evening. Along with all the many other Festival of the Dead festivities, obviously many of you here were for the Eve of the Dead poetry. Now I want to introduce Israel Menya, who is going to do, I'm sorry, it's Mena, not Menya. Israel Mena, who is going to do a traditional Aztec presentation. And at this point, I'm just going to leave it up to Israel to let you know what's going on.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Everyone. Well, actually, in this day, about November 1st and November 2nd, we celebrate in Mexico the dead with some candles and these little papers and a lot of stones. I wanna talk a little bit, and then because we don't have too much time, but I wanna invite my friend Victor Morales, and he knows more a little more about me and where I'm from and what I do here. And where that I represent is my nation. My nation is the Aztec nation from Mexico City. And this culture born 700 years ago in Mexico City. Well, now it's Mexico City, but 700 years ago we called Tenochtitlan. And right now I will invite my friend Victor Morales coming over and talk a little bit, and then we want to show you a documental film about the Maya culture and this occasion, because I forget another tape in my house. But this documental film is in English. It's in English, and you can understand. And you understand. Well, I hope you have a really good night, good evening, and enjoy with us this time. This is the traditional Aztec culture.
Did he say while he was getting dressed we were going to watch that? Because I want everybody to know he's going to do the dance. So we're going to watch the tape first? How long? It's just a little bit while he gets
It's well, my name is Victor Morales. I feel really honored that Israel asked me to speak. Actually, Israel has lived this culture a lot more than I have. I was lucky enough to have grown up in East LA, where we had a lot of cultural centers, and we would invite people like Israel up from Mexico, who are closer to the living traditions of the Mexica people. We are also called the Aztec people. We were called the Aztecas when we returned to Mexico. We were a nomadic tribe. We traveled here in the north, in Aztlan. And Aztlan is any place to the north of Mexico City. And when we were traveling, when we were nomadic, we learned from many different tribes, and we shared with a lot of different people our own culture. When we came back to Mexico, we were called the Chichimecas, or the dog people. But to denote that or to let people know that we were, our ancestors at the time were back and ready to reclaim our rights to that valley of Mexico, And to start the renaissance of the Mexica or Aztec culture, we let them know we've been traveling in Aztlan, and at that point we were called the Azteca Mexica. Israel, having been born there in Mexico, his people would be known as Azteca Mexica. I, having been born in the north, would be known as a member of the Aztlan Mexica. And this day, by the way, it's one of 2 days. Today, we really traditionally honor the children that have passed on in our family. So we would put out plates of food. And this would be pretty solemn, by the way. This version of the Day of the Dead is kind of a lot more open than I'm used to. But it's nice to see that these things are happening. You know, we're opening up borders and minds, including my own, about being open to other people and other cultures and sharing with each other. There are also other days of the dead in May. We honor the fallen warriors, people that have sacrificed their lives to better our people, to defend their nation. The main warriors behind, or at the front of the avant-garde or the vanguard of our people are the, now correct me, the Masewat. Masewat, that was really our word for warrior. We don't have a word for warrior. Somebody who makes a career of fighting doesn't exist. That concept doesn't exist. And as far as I know, it also in other native nations, it doesn't exist either. You're a defender of your people, or you're a servant. And Masewat, as I remember correctly, means spiritual servant. And when I learned Aztec dance, the first thing that our Aztec Capitan told us was that a traditional warrior, or a Masewat, the first thing a Masewat does is dance. And the last thing that a Masewat does is fight. But through the dance, he or she is prepared for both. So we're really lucky to have Israel do this dance for us on this day. Israel has asked me to read something from a very old Nahuatl poem. It was originally in Nahuatl, it was translated to Spanish, and then it was translated into English so that we can understand it. So I'll read that to you. Oh, and by the way, I want to add something here. At the height of the Tenochtitlan, of the Aztec culture, you know, anthros would call it the post-classic period. You know, we were building as a culture, building and building. We hear a lot about human sacrifice.